Hi everybody, Michelle McLuhan, astrologer and life navigator, and I'm bringing you an astrology update for the next full moon, which is happening on the 15th of November in the earthy sign of Taurus. Now Taurus is fixed earth, that's what Taurus is, and it's opposite the sun in fixed water, which is Scorpio. A full moon is always a time where the sun is opposite the moon. The sun in astrology represents the masculine, the forward momentum. It's an outward energy. The moon represents the feminine, the inward, the feelings, how we feel about things. So at full moon, very often, the sun shines its light into the shadowy areas, into the feminine, into the feelings, and brings them out, which is why very often people kind of become a little bit unstable, possibly, or the emotions can run very high at a full moon. In fact, the word lunatic is related to people kind of losing stability at full moon, lunatic. So this is a full moon like no other really. It's a super moon, which means that it's bigger, it's brighter, and therefore it's more intense. It could be accompanied by big weather, I think, and possibly big earth events, this full moon, because of the energy that's surrounding the full moon. So first of all, we have this Taurus energy. Taurus energy is, if you could imagine an analogy for Taurus energy, I would see it as a beautiful, big, old tree. A tree that has been growing roots and has been standing there for a very long time. It's not about to go anywhere. It's just steady and it's secure and it's stable. Those are the qualities of Taurus. Stability, security, safety, the sense of wanting to stay in one place and build and do things properly and commit and be loyal and become very earthed and grounded. Put the roots down deep inside the earth. That's Taurus. If you look at Scorpio, which is on the other side, which is where the sun is, Scorpio is, as I mentioned in my last video, it's fixed water. We could see Scorpio as a lake holding emotion. So at a full moon in Scorpio, emotions can run quite high. Always at full moon, emotions can run quite high because it's shining the light on emotions. Full moon is the time when things come to the surface. It's a culmination point. New moon is where the seed is planted. Full moon is where there's a culmination, an outpouring, a release. Now this full moon is quite interesting because right next to the full moon, we have the planet Uranus. Uranus is the planet of change. It's the planet of awakening. It can be seen as a planet that's related to upheaval, disruption. I almost feel Uranus like a sort of an electric energy. It's a bit like a lightning strike. So now if you consider what I've just said, being Taurus is this holding space, wanting to be, wanting to stand firm, not wanting too much movement, and you put Uranus next to it, well, there can be some unpredictable, unexpected happenings because Uranus is unexpected and it basically comes together with Taurus, which sort of says, oh, that what I thought was stable might not be stable. What I thought was a sure thing might not be a sure thing. I was in a comfort zone and now I feel like I've been booted out of that comfort zone. How do I deal with this? So it's a sort of a very energized energy. So whenever anything touches Uranus, Uranus energizes it. It electrifies it, which can be quite exciting as well because it's the force of awakening. What Uranus wants to do is Uranus wants to take us out of our comfort zones. So it's almost like a lightning strike comes in and penetrates the earth and breaks it up and shows us what's underneath. It exposes what's underneath. And it insists on something being done new. So that earth is broken up. It'll never be the same. It's got to be rearranged. It's got to be looked at in a different way. So that is the energy of Uranus or Uranus. It's the pattern breaker. It's the booter out of comfort zones. It will show us whatever has been holding us back or sort of holding us back from liberation, from our freedom, from our authenticity. It will show us where we're stuck in a sort of an old pattern. Now this goes along with the entrance of Pluto into Aquarius. So there's another little bit of astrology here. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So there's a link towards this full moon and Pluto's entrance into Aquarius, which I've been speaking about for months and months, as have any astrologers that you've been listening to. So Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn, which is old ways of doing things. It's the conservative kind of traditional way of doing the same thing over and over. It's like a big ship that's been going in one direction for the last 16 years, and it's been sort of top down. You will do it like this. It's quite authoritarian. It's quite conditioned, and it's all about building and building and building the old. And now Pluto, that's moving out of Capricorn into the sign of Aquarius, Aquarius ruled by Uranus, is the new. So what that says to me is that Pluto, being the planet of power, of empowerment, of transformation, transmutation, Pluto, whatever Pluto touches, Pluto will transform. So when we look at our natal charts to see where this is playing out, we can see what has transformed over the last 16 years. So you'd look at whatever house Pluto is moving through at the moment. It's at 29 degrees, which is the end degree. It's called the anaretic degree of the sign of Capricorn. It's been in and out over the last year, but this is its last fling in Capricorn. On the 20th of November, it moves out for good because it's got a 248-year cycle, which means it will not be visiting us again in this particular lifetime. So this is one of the closings of cycles that we're seeing, and it is asking us, this full moon is bringing to the surface that which is actually still holding us back, those layers that still need to be shed, penetrating that earth and saying, okay, what's here? What's underneath? It's calling on us to be truthful. It's calling on us to be authentic. It's calling on us to shift our perspective. So instead of seeing everything from this lens, can we actually change the lens and see it in a different way? Instead of seeing things as a crisis, can we see it as an opportunity? Instead of seeing things as something that's happening to me, it's happening for me. What am I learning out of this? What am I growing? How am I growing? How have I grown over the last 16 years? What am I letting go of so that I can embrace the new, which is Pluto going into Aquarius? And it's very interesting, the events politically over the last couple of weeks. Unexpected things have happened. People are calling out those big old corporate structures, whether it's the medical world, whether it's the technical world, whether it's the financial world. There's a lot of moves and a lot of change and a lot of questioning and a lot of exposure. That's going to be happening more and more as Pluto moves through Aquarius. The last time Pluto moved through Aquarius, it was the French Revolution, the American Revolution, where the people, Aquarius stands for the people, and Pluto moving into Aquarius is the power coming back to the people. But in order to do that, we've got to see where our true power lies and actually stand in that power. So it's a very, very interesting full moon, and it's a very interesting time. Just bear in mind that full moons come and full moons go. It doesn't mean that it's going to stick around forever. They come and they go, but what happens at a full moon is we have a chart for the next couple of weeks, and it describes the energy moving into the full moon and out of the full moon. However, a planetary movement like Pluto moving into a new sign, that's got long-lasting effects because it takes forever. It takes a very long time to move. So it moves over 1 degree at a very, very slow pace. So this is what's happening over the next week. So there's quite a lot of sort of interesting dynamic energy. If you have a new moon conjunct, which is next to Uranus, there can also be innovative, unusual, original, new ideas that come to the fore. New ways of doing things, new ways of working in relationship. Asking ourselves, how can we shift our perspective? How can we choose our vibration, choose our frequency? Uranus and Aquarius, they deal with energy. This is an energetic shift that we're going through. And we always have the choice to see what we're going to align with. Are we going to align with the old patterns, those old, redundant, stuck records? Or are we going to say, I've already done that. I've been doing that to death. I'm now done with that. I'm actually shifting my perspective, and I'm going to choose how I'm actually going to be in the world. Am I going to embrace love, forgiveness, peace? And how do I do that on a daily basis? So if there's conflict or if there's challenge, which many people are going through, how is this challenge? How is this challenging person? How is this challenging situation helping me to grow and evolve on a soul level? Pluto is the planet which relates to our soul's evolution. So this transit of Pluto is an evolutionary transit. It's an evolutionary shift. So this is a very big time to shift our own perspective. How can we choose a new frequency? Can we choose a new way of being? This brings me back to Taurus, because Taurus gives us an insight as to how we can actually deal with the comings and goings and the unexpected that will be happening over the next while. Taurus being that earth sign, can we ground ourselves in the present, be like that oak tree, but be able to be flexible still? Just remembering that the roots are moving and the roots are growing and the branches are moving and the leaves are moving. So being able to be flexible, but with a very strong, long, deep taproot into presence, into this moment. And from this moment at the center of the wheel, we can navigate whatever the storms are outside, because this can be a bit of a stormy time for many people. It can be a very challenging time financially for many people. The Scorpio-Taurus axis is the financial axis. And with Uranus moving through the sign of Taurus, it's disruptions to that financial stability, very possibly. It can be new innovations as well. It can be new ways of dealing with money. It can be new money systems as well. But it's definitely got to do with the money systems. It's got to do with the food systems. And on another level, it's got to do with our own bodies. Because Taurus is very close to our physicality, our physical body. So what do we need to do differently in terms of our bodies? Are we drinking enough water? Are we eating the right foods? I feel that as we shift our perspective and as we shift frequencies, we're very often not able to do the stuff that we used to do before. So we might find that certain things that we used to eat or drink, we can't do anymore. It just doesn't resonate. And it's to be sensitive enough to say, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. It doesn't fit with me. It's not aligning with my frequency. So this is a big time to deepen that taproot, to find the calm within the storm, to find the calm in the middle of the storm, to step back into that calm, peaceful place, to see the lessons, to see the gifts in amongst all the apparent chaos out there, all the different perspectives. Everybody's got a different perspective. People see things from their own lens, from wherever they're sitting. I mean, you just have to sit in a room with a group of people. If you're sitting there and I'm sitting here, we'll have a different perspective. We'll be looking at a different thing. And it's for us to find tolerance in the fact that we might think differently. We might have different opinions. We might disagree even. And it's okay. Can we agree to disagree without trying to bulldoze the person into agreeing with us? No, they've got a difference of opinion. That's okay. We don't have to agree on everything and stand in our own truth without having to go to war, with being able to say, this is how I'm feeling. Full moons are time to say, this is how I'm feeling. So checking in with your feelings on full moon. Check in how your body feels. That's a good way of checking in with your feelings. Just connect with where you feel what in your body. I'm feeling a bit of a flutter here, or I've got a bit of a sore head, or I've got a bit of a backache. Oh, interesting. Just see what it feels like. What is it? What would it be if it had a color, for example? What would it be if it had a texture? And then you can actually go further and see what else this feeling or the sensation is telling you. Very good way of grounding ourselves is to just come into an alignment of body awareness, of the breath, what my body is feeling, temperature on my skin, what I can hear, what I can taste, what I can smell, what I can see, the senses. The senses are very Taurian. And so when we use the senses for this kind of full moon, it brings us back into the center and we can deal with the storms that might be surrounding us. The ruler of this full moon is Venus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and Venus is in the sign of Capricorn, is also quite grounded, is quite steady, and is quite sort of conscientious and likes to actually get things in order and likes to build, and there's a stability kind of around her. There could be a sensitivity, there can also be a seriousness, but there's also a maturity. So how can we mature into these changes that we're seeing? Saturn is also saying that, because Saturn has just turned, it's stationing, which means that it's steady, and it's turning direct after being retrograde. So again, it's saying what lessons have we learned over the last season? And then that obviously that season goes back into 2008. If you know your chart at all, you can also look at where Saturn is in your chart, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and Pluto's been in Capricorn. So your chart would be, the way your chart would be affected would be wherever Pluto is and wherever Saturn is in your chart. So for example, if you might have Saturn in the second house of finances, then you can see that maybe over the finances and resources, let's just say the second house, your value system. You can have a look at your chart and see, okay, this last Pluto journey through Capricorn has had an influence on how I view money, or my money situation, my financial situation, my maturity, how I now treat my resources, how much I value myself. So you can actually look at wherever Saturn is and wherever Pluto is in Capricorn. Those are the two areas that will give you clues as to what we're releasing and what we're moving into as Pluto starts his next journey. So watch this space. I think there's going to be some exciting stuff happening in the world, and it's for us to just be the peace, be the love that we want to see in the world. I did draw a card for us, and the card that I drew is, I do not know how to pronounce this card. I've never had it before, I've never drawn it before. It's Magic Labdron. I really don't know how to pronounce it. I've got it up on the screen. It's called the Diamond-Hearted Dakini. I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. A demon, according to Magic, is anything that obstructs the achievement of freedom. Demons, then, are ego beliefs, not scary, hairy beasts, but inner barriers that keep us from realizing the nature of reality. So from Magic's perspective as an enlightened female, she knew that the difference between a god and a demon had to do with our own reaction to them. Those who cause us pain, she explained, also teach us patience, whereas those who bring gifts can distract us from our spiritual paths. No one and no single situation has the power to derail us. That is, unless we let it. The power rests within us. The spiritual path for Magic was to become intimate with her inner demons, those thoughts or beliefs that kept her from experiencing joy, bliss, and pure love. That, from what I can see, that is what Pluto comes to teach us. The darkness within us isn't actually dark. It often feels threatening because some aspect of our intuition knows that when we face it, we will reclaim a lost part of our soul. We will heal. We will become more whole. And that, ironically, can be terrifying. We get so used to functioning with only one wing. We wonder, how can I fly now with two? I'll go too far, too high. Who will I become now that I'm free? And who will I lose in the elevation of my soul? That's quite something. I'm going to read those again. How can I fly now with two wings? I'll go too far, too high. Who will I become now that I'm free? And who will I lose in the elevation of my soul. Magic is here to support us in seeing what's ready to come to consciousness. She is here with her diamond heart to hold us as we feed one of our demons, not with fear, but with the knowledge that bringing it to life and into the light will help us to set us free. Is there an ego belief that I am ready to see and release within me? I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. So this is very apt for this full moon. Pluto nearing the end of his journey, bringing to light those parts of ourselves which are holding us back from freedom, from feeling free, from being free, and shining a light into the deeper parts of ourselves so that we can see them and choose a different way. Choose to be more authentic. Choose to see what we want to align with. Choose to be the light. Choose to be the peace. Choose to be that center of the wheel, that stable, beautiful oak tree, when everything else might be a little chaotic. So I do hope that has helped you. If you did enjoy this, please would you subscribe if you haven't done already and press the notification button. Please would you comment and let me know how it's working for you, what energies you're feeling. It's lovely to read your comments, although I don't always get time to reply to all of them. I do read them. Also, if you really did like it, then you can share it if you think that it might be helpful to somebody else. If you'd like to see how these big themes are playing out, and it's not just over the full moon, it's right into next year, especially Pluto going into Aquarius, then you're welcome to book a session with me, and you can do so by visiting my website, and the description is below. So thank you very much for tuning in and listening, and I wish you a beautiful, liberating, empowering full moon.